Well, hello there. Amy Lewis from the KFBK Morning News, and we have a great segment. I think you are really going to love this segment because it really is all about your most prized possession, not just your home, but you and your family as well, and being safe during the holidays. We have Brandon Haefele, the CEO and founder of Catalyst Mortgage. Of course, you're here. Thank you, Brandon. But also with us today is Fire Chief Felipe Rodriguez from Folsom Fire. Good morning, Chief.
Good morning.
And also we have Eddie McCauley, detective with the police department here in Sacramento. So we really are going to talk about how to keep as much of yourself and your home and your family safe during the holidays. So Brandon, I'm going to just kind of do an overview with you to find out why you thought this was important to do at this time of the year.
Well, Amy, I think that whenever we're thinking homeownership and we're thinking about financing, having these discussions, one thing we do miss is home security, home safety, the things that after you are in the home, now what you really have to watch out for, how you have to protect yourself, and also the safety of your family. So I think that, especially this time of year, it's a great time to really bring this full circle. You have your financing. We talk about making responsible choices there, but now bring it full circle to the other steps. That comes down to what's most important: your family in your home.
Okay, so Chief, I'm going to start with you because during the Christmas holiday season, going into the new year, sometimes people get their Christmas trees. Like, I know some friends who put theirs up this weekend, so it's going to be up for a month. And what are some of the things that people who have Christmas trees already up, they need to look for so that they can keep their homes from going up in flames? I mean, seriously.
Yeah, well, first of all, if they already have their Christmas tree up, to ensure that they thought beforehand and cut the bottom of it at an angle, and to ensure that it can absorb some of that water, and to make sure that there's enough water inside of the bowl that's normally underneath it to keep it fresh, so that as fresh as possible, because it is cut down already, but you want to make sure that it lasts throughout the holiday season and it doesn't dry up.
Yeah, friends of mine who live in another state, not here in California, they actually left their tree on all night long and had not put fresh water in it. And literally the house was gone by morning time because they were awakened by a house full of smoke and their living room in flames. And they just grabbed their kids and got out of the home. And it was something that could have been avoided had they, seen things like this or talked about this.
Yeah. Well, you made one statement right now with what you just said. They left their lights on all night long.
Yeah.
Very important that people understand to not leave their lights on all night long. When they go to bed, the lights go off. Either put them on a timer or ensure that they're off. Yeah. To never put them near candles or heaters or anything like that will add to the drying of the tree. But definitely do not leave the lights on all night long. And that's one of the biggest things that we ask is turn them off. 4 to 6 hours every evening. Make it a beautiful Christmas time to really enjoy it and make your house look nice and really enjoy the festivities that go along with it. But do not leave them on all night long.
Yeah. Do not leave them on all night long. Seriously. I don't think you can say that enough. But the other thing I want to talk to you about, because you said it, that to stay warm inside your home during the holidays, a lot of people think that they'll get like the separate room heaters that, Grandma gave me because she doesn't need hers anymore. Or I'll use like another access heater that maybe is too old. So what are some of the things that people need to think about when you consider the cold outside and you want to keep everybody warm, but there's the proper way to do it, right?
Right. Well, the best way is obviously your home heater, the one that's in the home, that's installed into the home, to have a professional check it at least once a year, along with the fireplace, because some people do use their fireplace for heating. Clean it once a year as well. And then use those as a priority if possible. And if they do have to buy a space heater, to buy a newer space heater. Some of the older ones that were around 20, 30 years ago may not work as well as they should. So to use a newer one that's going to turn off if they tip over and things like that. But main thing is to have your appliances checked annually, especially those heat-producing appliances such as a heater, and the fireplace to clean it out once a year as well.
Okay, Eddie, you got to step up here. Okay, so what I want to ask you, because first of all, I want to talk about around the home, and Brandon, you can expound on this too, but around the home, when you have lots of trees and lots of bushes and you're very proud of the greenery of your home, sometimes that can hide somebody who is kind of casing your home. So what should a homeowner know about keeping maybe the perimeter of their house safe too?
Certainly. So we all enjoy having a beautiful front yard, but a lot of that comes into visibility. So one of the things that can help with that is lighting. Lighting is huge. So if your house is well lit, front, back, sides, it's going to deter a lot of the criminal element because they're not hidden.
Yeah.
And then also overgrown bushes, overgrown lawns, those are all big things that will attract people to your house, the unwanted element to your house. So if you keep those bushes neatly trimmed and all of the, the lawns mowed, it's not going to attract that. Wait, is someone home or is someone's not taking care of their yard? Those are some of the things that we look for.
And Brandon, for resale value and things like that, when you have a lot of stuff that's crowding your home that you don't get to over years, that can definitely affect resale value, right?
Absolutely. Curb appeal is key. I mean, really, if you're getting ready to sell a home, you want to make sure it's landscaped, really so people see the entire picture of the home. If your thing's overgrown, you're not going to really have that. And one thing to touch on when it comes to, bushes and stuff, for security, if you have a security system, many homeowners insurance companies will give a discount. So it's one of those things, added security for the home, that actually might save you some money as well.
The other thing I was thinking, too, when you talk about lights outside your home, is that maybe you don't have a security system, or maybe you don't live in an area where you have, homeowners association where you all work together to keep each other safe. But a floodlight, doesn't cost a lot of money, does it? I mean, how easily are those to install?
Yes, there are many ways to install these floodlights. There are some that are just you plug in. They don't have to be hardwired into the house. But along with those floodlights, motion activated, we see them with some of the automated systems that come around. But having a floodlight that will automatically go on, so you don't have to burn that electricity all the time. But especially one in the backyard and the sides, if someone walks and they get, shined on real bright, they're gonna take off.
Surprise and get the heck out of there.
Exactly.
So, Chief, I was also thinking about the electricity when he was talking about, what to have inside your home. And I know that a lot of people sometimes connect an electrical cord to another electrical cord and an outlet over here, and we got to connect it over here and over there. There's a proper way to make sure that your lighting for Christmas is done correctly, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first, let's start with the outside.
Yeah.
Number one, we ask people, safely install their lights around the outside. Have somebody foot the ladder if they're going to be using a ladder, et cetera, so they don't fall off. And to not string them on one to another, to another, to another, to another, and keep on going, right?
Yeah.
So check with the manufacturer's recommendations. Some of them can be strung up to 10 in a row. Others can only be 2.
Yeah.
So it really depends. But to not really overdo it with the lights. That goes for the outside. Now, when we move to the inside of the house, very, very important to not use what we call an octopus, where you have 8 of them hooked up together.
Okay.
Right? Or
that's
something
a good
like
word
that.
to remember.
Yeah.
Don't do the octopus in your home.
Right. No, don't. Make sure that they're on a power strip or on something that's going to have a little breaker that will turn off if it has too much current. And to make sure that they do it in a safe way, that you don't have 10 of them plugged into one outlet. Spread them around the home. Make sure that they're done safely. Like I said, use the power strips and connect them in a way that's going to be safe. And really look at the manufacturer's recommendations for quantity of putting them in series, is what we call it.
Yeah. And you shouldn't, and this is a question I will tell my husband when I go home today, should you keep using the Christmas tree lights over and over and over? At what point do you say to yourself, okay, I need to spend $20 and get new ones?
Right. Yeah, so it's really good idea to annually at least inspect them and see if the cords are frayed or if they're damaged or if they're old, if the bulbs are now missing or they're cracked. That's time to replace them. And periodically, I would say every 5 years, get a new set of lights.
Yeah.
Don't keep using the same ones over and over and over. It's time to replace them and spend the money. I recommend LED lights, as a matter of fact, if possible. And they're less. They produce less heat, and you can plug more in off of one circuit. So it's time to maybe start thinking about some of that. If people do choose to go with the incandescents, the old ones, that's okay. But just to do it safely and get some newer ones.
Okay, Chief. Now, I know that you went to Folsom Lake College, so you have been in our area for a long time. So if I mention the name Dave Williams, you may know the story I'm about to tell about decorating your house at Christmas time. Dave Williams was my partner at KFBK for years, our morning show partner. He's now in Dallas having a great time doing another morning show there. But Dave, years and years ago, thought he would go up onto the top of the roof and put lights all around the house and up over the chimney, and he did exactly what you think happened. He fell. He slid off the roof, and forgive me, this is gross and terrible, but he fell on his flat feet, and his bones went through his feet. So he was in a wheelchair for many, many months. I think he still walks with a cane. He has a handicap placard for his car because he can't get to where he's going. This guy's a great, vibrant guy whose life was changed in a heartbeat. So smart or not smart to go on your roof, and forgive me, Dave.
Well, I do remember Dave Williams. Yeah, I was at Folsom Lake College in 1993, as a matter of fact, 93 and 94. But really important to remember to do things in a safe manner. And sometimes we overextend ourselves, and we want to make our house look beautiful, and we go way up on the peak of the roof, and
especially guys,
and start connecting everything.
What is it about you guys?
I can do it. It's no worries. I got this. But you really want to do it in a way that's safe, so you can enjoy the holiday season with the family and make your house look nice at the same time. But really use a lot of caution, a lot of care, and especially if it's been one of those nights where it was raining or more of a humid night where it might be a little bit more slippery. And you don't want to slide off of the roof. So
no,
a lot
you
of care.
don't. And there are people who do it for a living, and they're very qualified to do it for you, right?
You can
so
do
you don't
that
have
too.
to do it.
Just hire
Plus,
somebody.
Brendan, on a serious note, if you do something that causes either your shingles to come off because you're sliding down the roof, or you fall through an area of your home, that affects your home. You've got to pay for damages to be fixed. I mean, this is something to take very seriously.
Yeah, especially with roofing. Something so small can lead to something so big. If you have a leak that's caused because of something over time, you're not going to notice it. It could, slowly go, into the insulation, and then,
Yes.
the structural. I mean, there's just so many problems that can come from it. So again, yes, don't go on your roof, and be very cautious when you do that.
Not to pick on Dave at all, because other people do it, and I love Dave Williams very, very much, but I will never forget that story because it really did change his life forever. Chief, the other thing that I wanted to talk to you about when we talk about, the perimeter of your home and home security and safety, there's something people need to keep in mind when it comes to trees around the house, right?
Absolutely. Well, this is all interconnected. Everything from the people hiding out behind bushes or, the curb appeal to the safety of branches being too close to chimneys. And very important to keep at least 10 feet away from any chimney, any branches that might be there, because a nice fireplace going in the evening will heat up those branches if they're too close. And if they're touching, they can actually ignite, and you can actually start a fire by doing so. So really, pay somebody to come out there and trim those branches away, not climb up there and try to do them yourself, unless if it's safe to do so. But most of the time they're pretty high up there, so it's better to trim them away 10 feet.
Yeah, you just made me think of, people wanting to be Dick Van Dyke and being a chimney sweep. Don't try to do that yourself either. There are people who will clean your fireplace and your chimney to make sure that it's safe for the holiday seasons, right?
Yes, very important. We do respond to chimney fires throughout. We've already responded to them throughout this season. But it accumulates, all of the soot accumulates within the chimney, and if you don't have it properly cleaned, professionally cleaned, you can actually have a chimney fire. And if it's a big enough chimney fire, it can actually get into the attic of the home. So very important to clean it up.
And Brandon, again, when you talk about resale value of your home, if you had a fire in the chimney and you had to completely take that section of your home apart, that's an incredible expense that you have to tend to first before you can put a home on the market ever.
Absolutely. And, I think first and foremost, we're also talking about just general maintenance of keeping a home up, trimming things back, cleaning your chimney. Proper maintenance will also, of course, help that resale value and prevent further work when you're getting ready to sell, or for that buyer or prospective buyer to be asking for a credit because there's so much deferred maintenance that needs to be fixed up. If you're just keeping up on it as time goes, it's going to save you a lot of money.
All right, Eddie. So I want to talk to you about something that I think we talk about every day on the air. So you can move up a little bit more so we can definitely be heard well. But I think this is a kitschy phrase that we need to change because it makes it sound cute, and it's not cute at all. But we're talking about porch pirates. So if you get anything delivered by a delivery person, you've ordered a whole bunch of gifts for the kids and for your family, and you get them delivered to your porch, and what happens?
Right, so we have these people that are just driving around and stealing stuff off of people's porches. So there's a few things. One, when we talk about keeping the yard trimmed for the curb appeal, we also talk about it for safety, right? If your porch is completely visible, it's less attractive for people to just sneak up there and take things. We also look at, with all these delivery services, you can track most of your packages so you know when they're going to come. So some of the things you can do is limit the time those items sit on your porch.
Yeah.
So either you go home on your lunch break, have a neighbor go by, whatever it is, you can see when those are showing up and you can get a notification. So being on top of those just limits the time that those are out there. The other thing that we do is we have a bait program where we track these packages. So we'll put fake packages out there, and then we'll basically, when someone takes it, we get an activation, and then we go find them and we arrest them. So you never know if the package that you're stealing is going to be one of ours, and we're going to come and arrest you. So,
but that doesn't seem really to make a huge impression on crooks, because crooks are going to do what crooks are going to do. And so is it best to maybe have your packages delivered to work, or maybe delivered to a friend's home who you know is there 24/7? I mean, what's the best way to combat this?
Yeah, both of those are great options. One, you can have them delivered to, if it's UPS or, the post office, you can have them held at the location. So then it's not on your porch at all. So you eliminate that issue completely. Another option is work. If your work allows that, have it delivered to your work. Or, like you said, a friend, a babysitter, a dog sitter, whoever it is that you know is going to be home all the time, have it delivered there. And that way it's not sitting on a porch anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Hate porch pirates. All right, so we're gonna take a little break right now, and we're gonna talk more about personal safety, but also the safety of yourself inside your home when it comes to really protecting your home against fires. And Brandon, really about how just to keep yourself, your home, and your family safe and secure, so that your most prized possession, if it's not your family, your home, to make sure that you can sell it if you need to at some point for every cent that you can get for it. So we're going to continue our Catalyst Holiday Report in just a bit. Well, hello there. Welcome back. Our second segment on holiday home safety continues. Here with Catalyst Mortgage, Brandon Haefele, the CEO and founder of Catalyst Mortgage, along with Chief Felipe Rodriguez from the Folsom Fire Department. Chief, thanks very much for this opportunity to speak with you. And also Sacramento Police Detective Eddie McCauley joining us live. So we were just talking about porch pirates and getting your packages that you worked so hard for and ordered, and you got delivered to your front doorstep, and somebody just drives up, walks up and steals it. Mm-hmm. So we have in our home Ring.com, which is a great system that has a video camera at the doorbell. And so you can see if somebody is coming up to your home, and you can actually talk to them wherever you are. Is that something that you think is a good idea for everybody to have? Or, I mean, I know it costs money, but it's negligible, right?
Right. It's a phenomenal piece of equipment. I have one on my house. I love it. It's not the only one. There are many of these automated systems, but it allows you to also record. Yeah. So it's a one surveillance camera right there. So you're going to get a photo, which also helps us as the police department investigate those things. But it's also a deterrent, because everybody knows what the Ring doorbell is, and so they will not approach that door, because it also gives the impression that someone's home, because they don't know that I'm not sitting in my living room or that I'm at the mall or wherever I am. That's one of those things that we love to see on houses. Okay,
so I got to tell you this, because I kind of hinted at this when we were in the break. I have a video that I'm going to put up on my page where what this woman does, I think you both will highly recommend that you not do this. So she was actually inside her home when she saw a woman walk up to the front of her home. There was a package there. She knelt down, she grabbed the package, she started to walk away. The woman came out of her home and started to run after the woman. Turns out well for the homeowner, because she was able to get the package. Lady jumps into the car and they drive away. But is that recommended?
No, absolutely not. We encourage you to call 911, call the police department, call someone, but don't take independent action like that, because that's where we have tragedies happen.
Yeah. Because your safety is more important than a package.
Absolutely.
Seriously. So, and Chief, I want to talk to you about being safe and secure in your home when you're perhaps elderly. So if you are, living on your own and you've had a, wonderful time, the holidays, especially where elderly people try to decorate their homes, they need to keep things in mind too, right? I mean, you don't want my mother, who's in her young 80s, get up on a countertop and try to put lights on, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Fall prevention is really a really big topic, especially for the elderly. very important that those who are listening that might have elderly parents or grandparents, that they go out and help them.
Yes.
Help them decorate their home, make it nice, and also to inspect those items that sometimes grandmas like to keep, some of those lights for the last 25 or 30 years.
Exactly, yeah.
And it might be time to maybe go ahead and update them. And number one, just to make sure that they're safe and that they're decorated. And it's a good time to even spend a little bit of one-on-one time that they might really be looking for, especially during this holiday season.
That's a really good idea. But Brandon, you also had a really good idea about that, because a lot of times elderly people don't have family that they can come and check on them or come and spend time with them. And you suggested kind of, almost a home ownership situation where the association comes and makes sure that elderly people who live in the area are safe inside their home.
Absolutely. Depending on where you live, there are certain elderly communities, for instance, that, if you're 55 plus and you live in these communities, they will actually come and inspect those things. But let's say you're not in one of those communities. You don't have that immediate support. I really would say to, for anyone listening, make sure your parents have a community around them to help. If you're not able to see them, maybe it's a family friend or a cousin. But you want to really check what your parents and seniors are doing. And maybe it's not a parent. Maybe it's just a nice neighbor down the street.
Yeah.
If you can do your part, do that. Because like we were saying earlier, things happen. You might have lights that are 30, 40 years old. You don't want to use the wrong things. You want to make smart, educated decisions and making sure that they're safe.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Eddie. So we were talking about elderly people being protected during the holiday season. And I think a lot of times, and I'll put my mother out there again. I love her dearly, but my mom, sometimes sees something on the internet and thinks that this is on the up and up, and I'm going to join this group or I'm going to buy this product because they say money's going to go to help a charity, and it ends up being a scam. So what do you say to elderly people about that?
So always go with the reputable places to donate, the Red Cross, these very national organizations, because some of these websites will pop up the day before.
Yes.
And they target people that are vulnerable, like our elderly, parents or grandparents that are not as in tune to what the new scam is this week. And so we encourage people to, unless it's someone that they know or an organization that they've dealt with in the past, to be skeptical. And if it just doesn't sound right, we want you to just take a better look at it.
Yeah.
And ask a daughter, a son, a family member, a friend.
Well, let's be honest. It's not just the elderly who fall for this. So, we do too. So it's like so when you say go to a reputable website, what are the things, and I don't know, maybe this is putting you on the spot, but what are the things that people tend to fall for so we can look out for that to not fall for it?
Right. So with a lot of these internet search engines, you can have whatever you want if you're a business pop up first. And so what will happen is if you look to see when that website was created, if it was created a week ago, a day ago, that's a no-go. You want to go ahead and go with something that's established. Like when we go shopping online, we go to Amazon, we go to eBay. These are very trusted places, right? Department stores online. And we want to stick with those. We don't want to necessarily go to the questionable.com type stuff.
And nothing wrong with Facebook at all, but sometimes somebody sends you a Facebook link to a great product. I've heard don't click on those. You recommend that?
Absolutely not. Don't click on those. Go to the website.
Yeah.
Type it into your search browser. Go to that website. Don't follow links necessarily. If it looks like a great product you want to go, don't click on the link. Don't click on the email. Go to the website.
The other thing I have to ask you, when you talk about personal safety and leaving your home and going to the mall, I have 3 daughters and want to keep them alive and safe. And alive first. And they've always said I'm too paranoid, because I always say, if you're going to leave the mall, make sure that you ask mall security to at least watch you walk to your car. But a lot of times there's a lot going on in the mall, and maybe people are not able to do that at the time that you're leaving. Would you recommend, actually, what do you recommend? I'll just ask you that.
So you brought up a great thing. Ask the security wherever you are, whether it's the mall, a department store, whatever. They have security. Ask them if you just don't feel comfortable, if it's late at night. Those are all things we want you to ask. And if it doesn't feel right, it probably isn't. Go back in the store, wait.
Yeah.
Wait, if mall security can't get to you right then, wait 5 minutes. Waiting 5 minutes is way better than, becoming the unfortunate victim of circumstances.
Yeah.
Again, have your keys out when you're going to your car. Don't leave things, we talk about it all the time, hide, take, lock. You see it at the mall, you see it at the gym, you see it everywhere, and those are things that we really want to take home.
If you have packages in your car, put them in your trunk or put them somewhere where they're not visible.
Absolutely. And if you are at somewhere shopping, don't make multiple trips to your car with packages, because that just, even if you're putting them in the trunk, people are seeing that, and they're going to see you open your trunk and there's a bunch of stuff in there. So those are the things we don't want you to do. So
Okay. You just mentioned keys, so I'm going to go old school on you. Excuse me. So when I was my daughter's age, I was always taught to do this in protecting yourself. Does that work? I've never had to use this, but does this work as a weapon, for lack of a better term?
if it came down to protecting yourself, I mean, anything's a good option. But again, we want you to be aware of your surroundings and try and avoid those circumstances. Again, when we talked about asking security, whether it's the mall or a department store or whatever, wherever you're at, just, park under a light in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Park as close as you can. With the holiday season, sometimes that's difficult. But, just plan your travels around being safe and being aware for your own safety.
And because malls really want you there now, because everybody shops online, they will often have vans that take you, if your car is parked a few blocks away, they'll take you there, right?
Absolutely. And take advantage of those things because they will keep you safer and better peace of mind.
Yeah. I was thinking, too, because, Chief, we were talking about the American Red Cross and charities that really do need our help. I mean, when a family has been devastated by a home fire, so often we as news reporters, talk about the American Red Cross coming out and helping them. I mean, how quickly do you see members come out to help a family that's lost everything?
Normally, in my experience, it's always been within the hour that somebody will show up and they have gift cards, and at least they'll find them a hotel for the night or place to stay for the evening, and help them out during that within the first hour. Normally, they will end up coming and helping out.
So when you think about a family that, for lack of not just double checking the lights or checking the water in the Christmas tree, and all of a sudden they are without their home, what are some of the other, just kind of fatherly advice that you can give to somebody who's just starting to ramp up for the holiday celebrations?
Well, I would say it applies both to homeowners and business owners, both. And I know we're focusing more on homeowners today, but it's all intertwined.
No, that's a great point. Business owners,
Yeah, because when one business burns or is affected, it affects every other business around it, and that's well known. So we want to make sure that all businesses throughout our whole area, I mean, the state or the country for that matter, but definitely within the Sacramento area, to make sure that they're all successful during this holiday season. For residences, really important that people remember to cook safely.
Yes.
Yeah, kitchen fires are a big deal during the holiday times. People get together. There's a lot more family that comes by, a lot of cooking. Really important to never leave the kitchen when you're cooking. Turn all the pan handles inward so the children don't grab them.
Oh, boy.
With that being said, to remember that, when you do have people visiting your home that maybe don't normally come to your home, such as your grandchildren or things like that, they will be curious and they will touch fireplaces and they will put their hands on it without realizing. So to be really aware of what's going on in your home. Within the kitchen, to ensure that the hood is clean and that you don't have a grease fire. If you do have a grease fire in your stove, put a lid on it, have that nearby. Have an extinguisher nearby.
In the kitchen, like under the sink, ready to go, right?
Nearby, but not too close to the stove, so you can actually access it.
Okay.
And then also very important tip for everybody as they're ramping up for the season here is to double check their smoke detector batteries. I know we do that in October,
We
but
just
if they
did
missed
last
it,
week. Yep.
to make sure that they either get a new smoke detector and also new now carbon monoxide detectors, to at least have one on every floor of their home. And it's a good time, just as a reminder for everybody, to double check, to enjoy their holidays, and do it in a very safe manner.
I was thinking about being in the kitchen too. My parents have an electric stove, and so we have a gas stove. And so I think that you just have to keep in mind that sometimes an electric stove doesn't look like it's on, right?
Yeah, that's true.
And kids can put their hands on the stove and burn themselves, or even adults can do that too if you're just kind of half-minded walking through and getting a whole bunch of different things going.
Yeah, it's a good little reminder for all of those things. Stoves, candles, very important to make sure you blow out the candles in the evening before you go to bed. Don't leave them on all night. Have the candles that have the glass containers around them. and then throw them out once they have about a ½ inch of wax left.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people aren't sure. When do I throw them out? Well, it's time to throw them out once it gets down pretty low to the bottom.
Yeah.
And try not to use those single, tall, pretty ones because those do tip over and they don't have the glass that surrounds the actual wax.
And Eddie, so we're with, just to reiterate who we're with Fire Chief Felipe Rodriguez from Folsom Fire with Detective Eddie McCauley from SAC PD. But I wanted to ask you, how important is it before you, two questions, I'll ask you this one first. How important is it to not say that you're going on vacation on Facebook?
It's very important. With all these social media apps, even with some of the privacy filters, you want to make sure that you're not advertising, hey, I'm going to be out of town. No one's going to be at my house.
Yeah.
So as inviting as those things are, wait till you get home. Post your pictures, share your trip with everybody, but don't do that before you leave.
Yeah. Actually, Brandon, I'll address you on this. How important is it as you're leaving for, even if it's a work day or a vacation, to check to make sure everything is secure in your home?
Absolutely. Security is key. Locking the doors, making sure the windows are tight. Also, stop mail. I mean, that's a big thing.
Yes.
Right off the bat, stop mail. And I always say, inform your neighbors. So if anything suspicious, activity, make sure that you're notifying people so your home is safe.
Yeah, I mean, that's really important. Absolutely. When you so Christmas morning, Chief,
Yes.
everybody has opened up, all of their presents. You have a living room full of wrapping paper and boxes, and they're just kind of sitting there because nobody wants to clean it up because the kids are playing with their toys. I mean, how important is it to get that all gathered together and away from, say, a fire hazard?
Well, very important to, number one, if you are sitting down and listening to your music and you have your yummy food cooking in the oven and your candles going and the fireplace on because it's cozy, never, ever, ever put wrapping paper or Christmas tree parts or anything in your fireplace. It's time to gather it up, wrap it up, put it in a recycling container outside and away from the home. And that's one of the last things that I'll throw out regarding safety when it comes to that kind of things, is when Christmas is over and it's time to take the tree down, especially if it's a natural tree, to always keep it at least 10 feet away from the house, not to wrap it up and stick it up against the house, because unfortunately if somebody does come by and wants to play a prank, then that might catch the house on fire.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that those are away from the homes and all the wrapping papers are in garbage containers that are for recycling, not in the fireplace.
So one last question, Eddie. When you talk about being safe during the holidays, I mean, how active are hackers during the holiday times?
Yeah, we see an increase with hackers with some of these scams, internet scams, right around the holidays because everybody's in the giving mood. Everybody is purchasing things online, especially with the increase in online shopping. So it's always very important to just be aware. Just be aware. If something just doesn't seem right, don't do it.
Trust your instincts.
Trust your instincts.
Yeah.
Always trust your instincts.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when the chief was talking about putting those the trash and everything, it's important that we don't advertise what we got. Don't advertise your brand new 55-inch TV by putting the box next to your trash can.
Yeah.
Take the time, cut it up, take it to the dump, whatever it is, but recycle it and don't advertise.
Enjoy it. Don't talk about it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, gosh, this has been great. You guys, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you all being here to really talk about home security, keeping your home safe, keeping you and your family safe during the holidays, keeping your personal, possessions safe, and you and your family physically safe during the holidays too. Brandon, thank you very much. Brandon Haefele from Catalyst Mortgage, Chief Felipe Rodriguez from Folsom Fire, and also Detective Eddie McCauley from the Sacramento Police Department. That's the Catalyst Report, and the bottom line is, pass this segment on to your family and friends so they can watch it too and stay safe during the holidays. And please stay safe so we see you next year.